In the United States, there are over 500,000 people experiencing homelessness,
I was sleeping behind park benches.
with 4.2 million youth identifying as LGBTQ+.
I came out as transgender. That was really hard for me, and I ended up homeless.
Ask the Messenger's TV show is a TV show that educates, informs, and entertains our viewers on public health issues such as mental illness, suicide, addiction, illness and disease, COVID-19 relief, crime, domestic violence, homelessness, human trafficking, employment opportunities, healthcare, and more. And now, ask the Messengers.
The Ruth Ellis Center was founded in 1999 and has been on a mission to create opportunities with LGBTQ+ young people who were once homeless or simply had no safe space to go. They strive to build a vision for a positive future through their many outreach and safety net services. Today on Ask the Messengers, Mark Erwin, who is the executive director of the Ruth Ellis Center, is here today to talk about their services and also to talk about the recent opening of the Clairmont Center. Plus, a few real people share their real stories of when they were once homeless themselves. Ask the Messengers begins now.
I was sleeping behind park benches with plastic bags and actually taking showers at gym.
I came out as transgender, and I kind of lost all of my community around me. That was really hard for me, and I ended up homeless.
I was lost. I didn't have no ambition, I didn't have no goals, I didn't have nothing to look forward to.
My mother died, methadone and heroin. So I kind of got into my head a lot, and I was just like, well, she did this, why can't I not do the same?
There are 17,000 homeless youth in Michigan on any given night.
Covenant House is just a blessing in so many ways to so many people. It's not really like work, it's like a ministry. The main focus is to treat people with unconditional love and respect and just do the best we can to serve the homeless people.
Covenant House provides wraparound services to help these young people come out of homelessness. So if they come in right off the street, they'll go into our emergency shelter and try and do what they can to get back on their feet.
So a case manager walks alongside our young people from the day they get in, help them get acclimated to the process, help them to get comfortable here at Covenant House, and we walk them through so that they will successfully not experience homeless instability again.
I'm charged with making sure you get an ID, a social security card, a birth certificate, a bridge card, health insurance, all the legal documents that you need to be independent and self-sufficient.
We here at Covenant House, we raise our hands and say, we'll help you. We'll do whatever we can to help you get out of this process.
We also have a second shelter here called Transitional Living, and that's for those who are a bit more advanced, and they can stay there for 2 years as long as they are either in school or they are working.
We give them hope. When they come into the employment center, we let them know that you can come out of here with employment that will take you away from this kind of situation, not the environment, because Covenant House is a beautiful place to be. But the fact of the state of the process that they're in, homelessness, we try to let them see that that's just the process.
Now I can wake up and thank God that I'm here, thank God for this opportunity, and thank God that I can grow.
And they make us feel comfortable here, and I love it, honestly. They just seem like the parents to me that I never had.
Now I can say that I'm 10 times better than I was before I stepped in here, and I thank God for that.
They basically saved my life.
The success of our communities depends on our youth getting the best possible start in life. That's why it's alarming that 4.2 million young people experience some form of homelessness. That's 1 in 10 young adults ages 18 to 25, and 1 in 30 kids ages 13 to 17 who are at a disadvantage right out of the gate. Homelessness can look like sleeping in a park, staying in a car, or finding temporary, often dangerous shelter with other people. But youth homelessness is a solvable problem. Community systems can help prevent the trauma of homelessness by knowing the characteristics of youth who are at the greatest risk, like the death of a parent, their race, sexual orientation, gender identity, pregnancy and parenting, being in the foster care system, or juvenile detention. Together, we can intervene earlier to prevent homelessness so that each young person can get the best possible start in life.
Great Phoenix Center is changing lives one young person at a time. Taking thousands of youth ages 13 to 24 affected by homelessness and poverty right here in the Detroit area and giving them the tools and resources necessary to succeed in life.
All young people deserve a place where they feel safe and the resources that they need to thrive in education, in life, in mental health, and just wraparound support so that they can be and continue to be, thriving citizens in our community.
Wednesday morning, the local agency opened up their brand new headquarters in Youthville, Detroit, over in District 6, a location that will now make it possible to serve twice as many young people.
This district has been identified as the district that has the largest number of students who are experiencing homelessness.
Daily services, including a drop-in center, food pantry, enrichment programs, leadership training, mentor services, even laundry services will be provided. The sky's the limit for this new space.
Every day, children living on the streets are shunned, mistreated, and looked down upon, all because society has it in their heads that these kids are just under-average, underachieving teens who gave up and resorted to living on the streets. When in actuality, most of these kids are bright. They wish to have proper futures and jobs and wish to be living with a roof over their heads. Children rarely choose to live like this. Most are on the streets because they are trying to escape from an abusive, addiction-filled, or poverty-stricken household, and they believe that the streets are their only hope to seek support from other children in similar situations. So next time you pass by a young girl or boy asking for change, don't frown down upon them for living this lifestyle, but instead offer your support and understanding. They're not much different from you and I. They too have hopes and dreams.
My journey with Ruth Ellis Center actually began 11 years ago.
Stay tuned for more of Ask the Messengers.
Would you like to help us save lives? You can do so by partnering with us here at Ask the Messengers by making a donation of any amount. The people in your communities need your support. Help us extend our reach and impact more lives. Supporting our organization is as easy as a click of a button. Just visit our site shown on the screen from your phone or computer where you will see a yellow donation button. Ask the Messengers is waiting on your partnership, and your community is waiting on you.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Kimberly Mallory. I'm an author, TV host, motivational speaker, life transformation coach, chaplain, actress, but above all, I'm a woman of faith. I'm coming to you to tell you how excited I am that I have been nominated for the I Am Her International Awards. I need your vote. I've been nominated for 2 different awards, Author of the Year and TV Personality of the Year. What I need you to do is jump on my website, KimberlyMallory.com, and vote for me. You can vote as many times as you want up until December 10th. So I need your vote. Vote for me, Kimberly Mallory.
So today I am so excited to have Mark Erwin, who is the executive director over at the historical Ruth Ellis Center. Now, the Ruth Ellis Center, for those of you who may not know, is a center that has a rich history right there in Highland Park in Detroit. And they have been a refuge for the LGBTQ community for many, 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 many years. And it is named after Ruth Ellis, who was really strong about standing her ground, being who she is. And she created this idea, let me create a space that's safe for me and my community. And Mr. Erwin is the executive director, who has to kind of like walk in her footsteps. So welcome to the show, Mr. Erwin, and how are you today?
I'm great. And thank you for having me today. I'm excited for this conversation.
Nice. So, as the executive director, so what motivated you? You saw the opening. What motivated you to even want to be there? Because Ruth Ellis has a rich history and it has a lot of shoulders and a lot of feet that you are walking in. So, how did you feel comfortable enough to even apply for that position?
Well, I have to tell you that my journey with Ruth Ellis Center actually began 11 years ago. And the first position that I interviewed and was hired for was actually director of programs. And at that time, we had a residential foster care facility, our drop-in center, and administrative offices. And that's really it. There were about 12 of us. So we all wore about 27 different hats. We had maybe a quarter of the operating budget that we currently have now. But each of us was drawn to this space and this work because of the legacy of Ruth Ellis, quite honestly. She was a pioneer. Imagine in 1915, a young Black woman self-identifying as lesbian. Who does that, right? And when you read interviews and watch documentaries about Ruth, she would often talk about the fact that she was never in any kind of closet. It never occurred to her that she shouldn't live as she was, who she was. And I think that that is just a revolutionary idea even today. And so really for all of us, it's about what was it about the mission that really inspired us. And at the end of the day, for me, as somebody who identifies as gay and who struggled with that as a teenager, what does it mean to create a safe space where people can show up as their authentic self and be celebrated for that? What does that mean? What can happen when you create those kinds of spaces? And quite honestly, that has been really the driving force of Ruth Ellis Center for more than 2 decades.
So recently, you all did a groundbreaking and you opened up the youth center that's similar to where you all are now. So that provides residencies as well and similar programming that comes out of the main headquarters.
So this is a huge milestone moment for Ruth Ellis Center because Clairmont Center, which is the new building, we broke ground in November of 2020 and just had a ribbon cutting the beginning of October this year, 2022. It includes 43 apartment units. And it's really embedded into all of the programs that we have, because what we know is that when LGBTQ plus young people are experiencing discrimination or rejection from their families, they are at much higher risk for substance abuse disorder. And so providing space to have these important conversations, providing space to participate in prevention programming is critical. Absolutely. And one of the other things I would add to that too is that there is a high prevalence of intimate partner violence within the LGBTQ plus community, and especially for young women and girls who identify as lesbian and queer. And at Kofi House, which is the facility that hosts the Center for Lesbian and Queer Women and Girls, that is one of the primary programs provided in that space, is a supportive space for young people to come together and talk about their experiences with intimate partner violence, with supportive adults there to facilitate those therapeutic conversations.
Okay. Well, Mr. Erwin, we appreciate everything that the Ruth Ellis Center has done over the years. Power to Ruth Ellis for stepping up and stepping out, as they say, showing up and showing out.
That's right.
Who showed up and shows out, right? So I really appreciate what she's done and what she continues to do. And for people like yourself and all the others who have blazed a trail, still setting and making moves, right? But if you could just say one thing from your heart to the other heart, anyone watching, what words of encouragement or what would you like to say right now to your community who may be struggling, who may be hurting, or who may just be trying to figure it all out? What would you like to say to those people right now?
You know, it was actually Ruth Ellis who used to say all the time, just keep living. The important thing to know is that you have a community here who has your back. Ruth Ellis Center is here and is not going anywhere. And we know that the political environment right now has targeted specifically trans young people, but overall the entire LGBTQ plus community. But you're not facing this by yourself. You don't have to face this by yourself. There are lots of people who are happy to stand there with you and to identify any resources that you think might be helpful. So come see us. Includes a health and wellness center that is integrated care, both primary and behavioral health care, in a partnership with Henry Ford Health. We have an art therapy studio. We have a community town hall space. The Ruth Ellis Institute, which is one of our core programs, is also housed in that space. And we also have a cafe that we're turning into an entrepreneurial program for young people. And so what permanent supportive housing is one, it acknowledges that we need to put a roof over these young people's head first. And once we do that, let's start thinking about what are some of the other goals that these young people have for themselves. And we want to ensure that there is safe access to affirming healthcare. We want to make sure that there's access to education and employment support programming. We want to think about all the ways in which young people might need to express themselves and participate in therapeutic services in ways that go beyond just the traditional one-on-one sitting down with a therapist. And so the art therapy studio is really an example of that. So those are the supportive services that wrap around each of the young people now residing at Clairmont Center. And unlike many housing programs, it's not time limited, right? So for some transitional living programs, it's often set to 18, 24 months in some cases that an individual can participate in the program. Well, that's an arbitrary timeline. It doesn't take into account the individual needs of that young person. Sometimes it might take a little bit longer for them to stabilize and to be ready to live independently. And so permanent supportive housing is a model that allows us to meet young people where they are. And our caseworkers develop an individual plan of service, and it's person-centered. And so these young people are identifying their own goals and their own milestones for themselves, and we help them achieve those goals. And that's really our primary responsibility. But they do it in a time frame that makes sense for their current situation and the experiences that have led to them coming to Clairmont Center.
Let's talk about SUD, substance use disorders, which any community substance use is high, be it pills, alcohol, drugs, and the likes, right? So what are some of the precautions, or how are you all handling SUD situations within your community through your centers? What programs do you have in place for that?
So it's
when we return, a few more real people will share their real stories of how when they were once homeless.
We'll be right back with more of Ask the Messengers.
Happy anniversary. This is Lauren Harper wishing happy anniversary to Ask the Messenger TV show. Ask the Messengers celebrates 6 years of being on TV. The show airs every Sunday at 8 a.m. on TV 20. Bring you love, happy, bring you hope, anniversary. Teaching my brother and my sister I love one another. Bring you love, happy, bring you hope, anniversary.
My name is Michaela. I joined the Army at 17.
My name is Kellen. I'm 19. I like reading. I like going to art museums in the city and painting or drawing. I had moved out of my parents' house because I was seeing a doctor who confided in him, and then he told my parents under permission, and things were just really tense and there was a lot of yelling. It felt like the right time to leave. It was also difficult hopping around and sleeping on people's couches, not having a stable place to be in. So I came here through the suggestion of a friend.
And then
the LA Forney Center has helped me a lot with housing and employment, and I'm definitely a lot happier now than I was a year ago. Relationship with my family now, it gets worse and better. My mom right now is pretty good. We text every day. I'm not talking to my dad currently because things are kind of difficult with him. I don't feel comfortable going back to their home at this point. I want them to know that I'm okay, as okay as I can be, and that I'm doing well, and this is not a phase, and I'm happiest in this form than I was before.
Well, that concludes this week's episode of Ask the Messengers. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, if you would like to support our show, please feel free to make a donation of any amount by visiting our show website, www.askthemessengers.org. If you prefer to mail donations, please make your check or money orders payable to Ask the Messengers TV show and send to 18400 Schaefer Highway, Detroit, Michigan 48235. Ask the Messengers is a program that deals with things that help you. Thank you for watching.